Hey, what's going on? It's Quinn Furness, and this is Beantown Podcast coming to you live as promised from 817 St. Paul Street here in lovely Beantown. Last weekend of August. What's going on, everyone? How are ya? I'm checking in on you. Thank you to everyone who joined the live stream on Facebook this morning. That was a little glimpse into the life of Quinn Furness on a Sunday morning. We had Michael McDonald going. We had pancakes going. We had Virgin Mary join us for a little bit. It was a good time. We had some dancing. We had some cuts by Q. Really, the live stream had everything. It's about half hour long. Go check it out. It's on my personal page. I'm going to see if I can try to upload that to the Beantown Podcast Facebook page. Try and get it on Twitter too. You can always follow us at BeantownCast. You can also shoot us an email. We got an email this week, which is exciting. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But we are Beantown Podcast, Yahoo.com. It's Beantown, BEANT, podcast, Yahoo.com. What's happening? This is exciting because it is the last week of the podcast before we hit the road for the fall tour. You saw me post about that on Facebook, on Twitter. You can always follow us. I just gave you the tags. Let's look at these tour dates. Come listen live. We got some merch you can purchase at the door. Tickets are free, and it's going to be real exciting. So let's see. Next weekend, September 1st, 2nd, we're coming to you live from Indianapolis, Indiana. We're going down there for a fantasy football draft, and I think, frankly, it's going to be pretty lit. So keep your eye out for that. We're going to be doing our draft day special there. Next weekend is the last weekend before the NFL season starts. So if you're looking for all your fantasy football insider information, there's a chance we're joined by some other league mates, so that could be fun. Week after that, we will be coming to you live from Chicago, Illinois. Don't be surprised if we get some guests on for that. Haven't firmed anything up yet, but that's weekend of the 8th, not second weekend there in September, right after Labor Day. That should be lit. After that, Beantown going where no Beantown's ever gone before, Bowling Green, Kentucky. They call it the Charm City. That's going to be very exciting. We will be coming to you. We might try to get a friend from Yale on the podcast. I don't know. We're going to see what her schedule looks like, but maybe we could learn a little bit more about the Ivy League from her. After that, very exciting news. We are going to be going to Rockford, Illinois, back where it all started, back when Beantown was just a little sprout. Rockford, Illinois, more or less my hometown. We will come to you live. I am anticipating having our dear old friend, great friend of the podcast, one of the creators, the inceptors of the podcast, my friend Matthew, came on. You remember, which of course you do. He was on our live taxes special, which I believe was back in March. We did our taxes live on the air, first time ever on a podcast. So that was really cool. That was pretty groundbreaking. I haven't received any kind of news or information regarding a Pulitzer or like a Nobel Prize for that, but I will keep everyone abreast of that situation. But we've got some things in the work, including potentially our fourth Beantown Unplugged special. I have some big ideas. Delusions of grandeur, some might say, but I think they're just grand visions. So that will be coming to you second to last week of September there. Next, we are going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's right. You never thought I would take Beantown into the Great Plains, but that's exactly where we're going. Sioux Falls, largest city in South Dakota. Maybe we'll catch a buffalo burger, a bison burger, I guess is the PC term these days, thanks to Obama. We will be doing that. Then first week in October, we'll be in Baltimore, Maryland. That will be exciting. The tour continues. Then we will go back to Chicago. You know, they loved me so much the first time I went there. We're going to be going back. We've already done maybe two episodes from Chicago already on the Beantown podcast. Remember, we did a farewell to Farwell. I think that was, late June maybe. So if you haven't listened to that episode, that's one of my favorites. Just kind of go back and listen to it. I'm just relaxing. So it's me, my dear friend Sean, Steven, Ryan, and then of course podcasting legend John Paul Pendowski, Jombles, as he's known in certain circles, makes an appearance. And right at the end. It's like, and I think I made this analogy before, but you all remember at the end of Pirates 2, when, spoiler alert, Barbossa walks down the stairs and he's got the apple and he's like, about that ship! And yeah, Jeffrey Rush is just unforgettable. So anyways, that will be happening. Let's see. Then after that final Chicago one, we are heading back down south, Nashville, Memphis. Not quite sure exactly. Probably Nashville is where we're going to be coming to you live from. We've never done Nashville before, so I'm excited to check out. Well, I've been to Nashville. We've never done a show from Nashville before, so that's going to be exciting. A lot of good bachelorette parties, a lot of good live music in Nashville, so I'm thinking I'm going to fit right in, because I'm good with the ladies and I'm good with the guitar. So we'll come to you live from Nashville. We might try to do a little midweek check-in from Memphis. We've done a podcast there before around the banks of the Mississippi, a little Gibson's Donuts action, very kind of natural podcasts from the natural state, of course, Tennessee. So that will be exciting, and then we will come back to you October 20th, October 29th, live from Beantown. We will have our first ever Beantown podcast Halloween special. So watch out for tricks, watch out for treats. I know the Beantown podcast is typically a treat for everyone. So hopefully more treats than tricks on that episode. But those are the fall tour dates. So again, a quick rundown: Indianapolis, Chicago, Bowling Green, Rockford, Sioux Falls, Baltimore, Chicago again, Nashville, maybe Memphis, and then our Halloween special to cap things off live from Beantown. And believe it or not, it might be the end of August right now, but that fall tour is going to get us all the way into November. So, very exciting, lots of things happening. Things are happening on the Beantown podcast. Okay. What else is going on here on the podcast? Let's see. Oh, this is exciting. I've got my computer up here in front of me. For some reason, and maybe we can bring a family member whose idea this was on in a subsequent episode of the podcast to sort of explain to me why we're doing this the way we're doing this. But they're apparently, so we normally, I'll give you the context, we normally do try to do a family chat, a little check-in, like a little Seth Meyers check-in every Sunday morning, and it usually consists of me sitting there listening, because I'm typically, well, I'm not sitting there, I'm usually grocery shopping or on a run or something, or doing something, because it's my weekend, and I don't like to just sit around on my weekends unless I'm doing my podcast. But lately, there's been frustration for whatever reason with the phone calling. I don't know, I'm a big fan of how we do it. Everyone just calls in, we talk to each other, but for some family members, it's not enough. I'm not going to name names here, but now there have been talks of wanting to do a video call on a podcast, and I don't really know if I'm down with that. So we're actually live as we speak. We are joining into maybe a video call. I don't know if it's going to be video or if it's just going to be my voice. I'm going to turn the volume on my computer way down so that none of the outside stuff is coming in here, because we got to get a podcast out, because the fans demand a podcast. And with that, allow me to give my listener discretion is advised. Tag number 1, we will occasionally use the occasional obscenity, profanity. There might be some racially charged rants here and there. I think we've been doing a pretty good job 7 months into the podcast, 8 months into the podcast of keeping those off the air. But just in case something happens, Michael Richards style, I've given you the warning, so I can't be prosecuted for it, which is, that's how they got Michael Cohen. So that was exciting. Okay, now Mom's calling me on my phone. I swear. Mom! I feel like Ray Romano here. Come on! With Everybody Loves Raymond. They're coming at me hard and they're coming at me hot. just let me do my podcast. Woo! Number 2, the podcast is objectively. Oh, she's texting me too. Wow. Oh, that was just a missed call. A day in the life. You got the video stream this morning. You got the family chat action. Now, this is my life. Number 2, the podcast is objectively terrible. However, if you did like my Ray Romano impression, because I like it too, let me know. The only thing, the issue is, that's all I can really do. They're calling again. This is crazy talk. Okay, Mom, I know you're listening to this retroactively, but you got to stop calling. It's going to be okay, Mom. I promise. I'm calling in now on the computer. Just stop. Oh, Ma, it's too much. Ma. Joining. Mercy. Now they're FaceTiming me. This is crazy. Okay. I don't want any video, please, because I'm doing my podcast. Thank you. Anyways, so you might have to turn me down. I can't hear you on the family chat if you can hear me, but you might want to turn me down because you called in the middle of a podcast, and this is live air. So there's just your heads up. But yeah, let's see. We got a listener discussion is advised tag out of the way. We did our fall tour dates. Did the live stream this morning. Okay, we are in good shape in terms of housekeeping things. So I had mentioned earlier on the podcast we got an email this week from an exciting sponsorship opportunity. So with no more frills or friction, we are going to do our first ever paid advertisement, our first ever sponsor for the Beantown podcast. So here we go, and this is the read that I have received. So let's do it, Bill Burr style. Okay, it says ad for the Chicago episode, but I tell you what, we'll do it today too. We'll circle back to it, I promise. Do you hate handing off your phone to some stranger so they can take a picture of you? And it sucks. Right off the bat, I think we can all be there. We've all been there, yeah. Every day, millions of people travel to new cities and share really bad pictures of the places they visit. You know what? If I can stop you right there and give a retweet, there's too much instachatting and too much Snapchatting happening these days. And also, maybe someone can explain this to me. Is there a difference anymore between the Snapchat and the instachat? Because the way I see it, you can post like things from your camera roll live on Snapchat, so that's literally the exact same thing as like posting a picture on Facebook or Instagram. They both have stories, like the 24-hour things. Even Facebook has that now, and you can both like watch other people's stuff on it. Like if you swipe all the way to the right on Snapchat, it's always like, oh, you won't believe how the bikini this model pulled off this week, or like, if you're having sex this way, you're doing it wrong. I swear, it's all those stories. It's like the BuzzFeed, like attention grab thing. It seems like they all have that now. So if anyone can explain to me what's going on there, I would love to have it. Let's get back to the ads here. Every day, millions of people travel to new cities and share really bad pictures of the places they visit. Okay. No Last Co. That's N-O, new word, last, L-A-S-T, new word, C-O, No Last Co. is a private photography service in Chicago that focuses on capturing your visit to some of the city's hottest attractions. Think paparazzi, spelled interestingly, without all the attention. Follow, and here's your hashtag, or your whatever it's called, places.in.chicago. That's places, then a period, then in, then another period, then Chicago on Instagram, and send a DM, a direct message. Slide in there if you choose head first, like you're stealing third, for a free quote. Again, that's follow places.in.chicago on Instagram and send a DM or direct message for everyone 30 and up for a free quote. And it says repeat last sentence, which I already did. So again, that's the company name is No Last Co. And then follow places.in.chicago on Instagram and slide into those DMs for a free quote. There you go. I'm going to go do that right now. Let's see. InstaChat. Places in Chicago. This is exciting. You know, I always I'm gonna be real for a second. I always dreamed, every little boy's dream, that the first ever Beantown podcast sponsor would be, Jack Links. I think everyone kind of expected that. That's what we were going for. But you know what? I'm not picky. I like to promote the small businesses. No Last Co. Thank you for sending that my way. Again, follow places. I'm doing it right now as we speak. This is crazy. Live instachatting on the podcast. Who would have thought? Places in Chicago with a period in between those three words. Here we go. I'm following, and no posts yet. But hey, that's how it goes with startups. So go check out No Last Call on Instagram. It's places.in.chicago, and that'll be exciting. Those were our reads for the week. Mercy, I gotta get a sip of water here. We've been going hard this morning between the pancakes and the dancing and the Michael McDonald. So shout out to the University of Delaware Chemical Engineering class of 2018. Thank you for this lovely mug. Okay, let's check in on the family chat, see how we're doing. There's Dad. I don't know. I assume they muted me. I should hope so. We'll see how long they go on this podcast here. Oh, there's even a chat function as part of the podcast. Let's see. Turn on your microphone, Q. Lower left-hand side of the screen. Try talking to us. Okay. Quinn is finishing a podcast, so we are on standby. Slutterbox. I was very confused when I logged on. Ha. We saw Mamma Mia last night. Silly, but fun. Dancing. New sponsor ideas. Depends. What? Tarot Ant Killer. What's that? Mulch. I'm not picky when it comes to sponsors. I think you got to think about your demographics. I do well mostly with young people, but then there's also, according to my podcast analytics, there's like the 50 to 57-year-old females that I do well with. So I don't know if Depends is quite right for those yet, but I don't know, maybe we could do like a Sex in the City reunion. You go to Chicago and they got, the Seinfeld on the billboard and King of Queens and Sex in the City, because all those shows are in syndication on the WB or whatever it is. So I don't know, maybe we could work something out like that on the podcast. I got some questions about this, and I want to address it. If anyone's curious, yes, I do graphic design myself. Saw the poster for the fall tour dates, or you saw the poster for the Roast of Quinn David Furness or our politics episode. Those are all done by yours truly. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, this guy is truly a 5-tool athlete. Graphic design, podcast hosting, barber shop, musician, dancer / song singer, and there's a fifth one there. It's probably giving myself 5-tool nicknames. So anyways, I'm always looking to expand. Here's another one, social media influencer. So call me a 6-tool player. 6 fingers on one hand, like who's the guy in Marty McPherson in A Princess Bride? He's got the 6-fingered man in the glove and stuff. So anyways, I was at and I never do this, but I went to the Starbucks about last Saturday. It was going on a long run with my dear friend Megan. Thank you. Shout out to Megan for dragging me along on your runs. We did a 4-miler last weekend. We did a 6-miler this morning. I don't know. Maybe if I can keep doing some of these longer weekend runs, maybe I can try to knock out a half at some point in November. I'll have to revisit that. But we're at the Starbucks last week after our long run because, everyone says you got to drink coffee after your long runs to stay hydrated. And so there's 2 things I want to point out here when you go to Starbucks. Number one, Starbucks has got food. Has anyone ever bought the food at Starbucks? They're always out there in like the display glass, and it looks more like the plastic like play food that you play with at the Discovery Center growing up versus like actual food. It looks like it's been out there since the Kennedy administration. Speaking of which, R.I.P. and peace, John McCain. Anyways, but here's the catch with that food at Starbucks. It costs like $10 for a sandwich. So my question is, who is this population that's desperate enough for this plastic-looking food that's also paying $10 for this when you could go to, the Taco Bell or a Sonic and you have $10. You walk into Sonic or a Taco Bell with an old Alexander Hamilton in your wallet, you are a king, my friend. There is nothing that can stop you. You got chalupas to your left, grande burritos to your right. You got the, what is it, the Baja Blast Mountain Dew freezy slushy thing. And I used to go to Taco Bell, you get like little roll-ups for 89 cents. They're like taquitos on steroids. So you imagine $10, and now that we have Trump, the taxes are lower, so you don't really have to worry about that. So it's all good stuff. Anyways, that's number one. Number two, when it comes to ordering a drink at Starbucks, I've been thinking about this. I never know what to order because sometimes they take the menu away. You look up at the top, and it's just like, ooh, try our new pumpkin spice chai appletini. And you look at the menu, and it turns out it's just pictures of pumpkins and spices, and there's no menu. So it's like, apparently you have to know what you're ordering to get into Starbucks. But you watch some people go put in their drink order, and I'm a big football fan. Played a little flag here and there growing up. And it's like watching quarterbacks do their snap count read, like Peyton Manning up there ordering a Starbucks drink. It's like, grande, blue, 42, apple spice, double pump, nitro, check the nitro, cold brew. And it's like, you got to watch out because you're going to give your offensive lineman a false start here if you keep going too hard on the Starbucks snap count. So eventually you get, you finish it off with your triple double Ariana Grande. Did you know that you can order a Trenta at Starbucks? It's like a hidden menu item, but they'll tell you it's just small venti, grande, and Manny Machado, I think. But there's also a Trenta, which I don't know. It's, who could ever want so much coffee? Because there's two problems here. Number one, can you imagine the caffeine? That's crazy talk. Number two, I get a little triple double grande frappuccino, and I feel like I gotta break my seal every 30 seconds. And what's with the basic 5 foot tall white girls who are walking out of Starbucks with these Trenta iced coffees? I don't understand. Are you pulling off to the side of the road at every mile marker to go take a piss? I don't get it. It's just I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not judging people. I just don't understand. How can you do the Trentas? I walk up there. I'm like Newman ordering at the Soup Nazi. It's like, one grande frappuccino, please. And then they ask for my name, and I always say David because, and this has happened before. You give them your name at Starbucks, and you say Quinn. I have seen a lot of different things, but my all-time favorite is Queen. And I tell you what, when you're ordering a Starbucks in Boys Town, Chicago, and they say your name's Queen and you're a male and you walk out of there, you might attract a lot of unwanted visitors. So stick to David. It's tougher to mess up. You don't have to worry about any sort of gay notation following you around. Not that I have anything against the gays. I love the gays. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as Seinfeld would say. But sometimes you just want your triple-double grande espresso, 3-pump, triple-double, full house, cold brew, nitro, espresso, double shot, and you just want to get out of there. So anyways, that's why I don't go to Starbucks too often, although I will say for work, I probably accrue about $100 worth of Starbucks gift cards every fall. We'll see if that, I bet that's going to change this year because last year I was doing a lot of work with private schools. This year it's almost exclusively public schools. And Lord knows public schools in Chicago area do not have too much cash going around. Although you go out to, New Trier or Stevenson or St. Charles, there's a little bit more in the bank. So we'll see what that's like. How are we doing here? 25? TBT to the first ever Beantown podcast episode when I was like, I don't want it to be too short, like 15 minutes, but also we're never going to hit 40 minutes or 45 minutes. That would be crazy. So, yeah, TBT to literally like 75% of my episodes going at least about 40 minutes long. So this one's not going to be as long. I don't have as much to say. In fact, I'm just about out of things to say. I don't know if there's a lot going on chat-wise on a podcast. Bush's Baked Beans present the Beantown podcast. Quinn is woke. Quinn won't stop his podcast. Let's call via phone. Wait, why are we listening to a podcast? Nice place, Wah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the family chat. We'll get in there when we get in there. I'm not going to have a ton of time, though, because I am going hiking south of the city after this. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. Q, we're on the phone. When you are done, call. Every time I think about, they pull me back in. Is that Michael Douglas? Something like that. Anyways, again, let's see. We got those fall tour dates coming up, so check those out. We'll keep posting that on the Facebook page. Look out for some printed posters around Chicago, Indianapolis. We're going to try to put some of those up. Milwaukee, even. We're going to be on Labor Day. We won't be doing any shows from there, but going to a Cubs-Brewers game. Live from Miller Park, going into enemy territory behind the Cheddar Curtain. So that should be exciting. Going to reconnect with my former roommates, Sam, and hey, maybe we'll get Sam's company, a little sports marketing action to sponsor the podcast. I don't know. I better develop a pitch. You got to always be prepared when you're doing these things. Maybe I should just do a podcast about how to do podcasts. It'd be like Cosmo Kramer's coffee table book, a little meta action, a little 3-level inception type of thing. Podcasts about doing a podcast. Because, if there's anyone qualified to do a podcast about podcasts, I think it's a little Quinn David Furness over here. So, anyways, this has been the Beantown podcast. Thank you for listening. Follow us on social media. We are at BeantownCast. You can also follow my personal page if you're interested. That's at White Buns. That's WHITE BUNZ. Shout out to Cuts by Q. Thank you for the awesome haircuts. They're doing good work. If you're interested in getting the nails done or a little mani-pedi type action, we even do the gels. I know a lot of the ladies like the gels, so you can check those out. Cuts by Q, that's Qutz by Q. You can always email the podcast, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. That's Beantown, BEANTOwn podcast@yahoo.com. And one last thing I will say, because I was actually going to make this a focal point of the podcast, and I forgot to even mention it. Happy Time Murders, a new puppet movie that came out with Melissa McCarthy and a couple other people, Elizabeth Banks. So bad. Leslie David Baker. Don't see it. It's rough. It's a R-rated puppet movie, and it's just, I don't know. If you want to see a puppet octopus milking a puppet cow, you can do that. If you want to see a puppet ejaculate for about 60 seconds all over a room and the walls and the windows, you can do that. If you're into that stuff, great. I personally was not. It's got 22%. Last time I checked on Rotten Tomatoes. Hopefully that number goes down. It was real rough. Melissa McCarthy movies typically not funny. This one is just even further than that. It's frankly unfunny. So I know some people who are gonna like it. If you liked Sausage Party, this might be up your alley. But this doesn't even have like the Seth Rogen, like Franco type of like charm going for it. So anyways, Happy Time Murder is really rough. Not worth giving it a full review. 1 star. Less than that if I can. I guess half a star. Anyways, this has been Quinn David Furness. Again, check out the live stream from this morning, Sunday, August 26th. Is that the date today? Yes. That was really exciting. Mike McDonald, pancakes, haircuts, Victoria's Secret, all that stuff was down there. Thank you to our new sponsor, No Last Co. Follow them on Instagram. Places in Chicago is a period between the three, places in between each word, places dot and Dutch, Chicago. And yeah, that's all we had to say. 30 minutes. Fall tour starts next week. Come to you live from Indianapolis. Be sure to tune in for that. And otherwise, we are going to check in on you next week. Happy camping.